So welcome back to another video, guys. So really excited to bring you today's video because today we are kicking off our all-time Premier League tournament. So if you watched the previous video, link in bio, it's explaining it, and I do recommend you go watch it maybe after this video or even right now because it is really important, explains all the rules, so clears up any questions. So if you watch that video and you saw the bracket in this tournament schedule, which I'll also leave in the bio, you'll see that today is Manchester United, the first seed, versus Newcastle, the 8th seed. So we're not going to waste any time. Just going to go ahead, look right at these squads. So here we are. Coming up first, we got the Newcastle squad. The man himself, Newcastle legend, probably the best Newcastle player of all time, Alan Shearer. Then we got Luke de Jong, striker. John Joe Shelby, of course. Andros Townsend, who I didn't actually know played for Newcastle until then. And a lot of players I had no idea, but they started off their careers at Newcastle. Yeah, really big historic club. They got Musa Sissoko and Caballé in the midfield. Reasonably strong defense. We got Debuchy on the right, Colakini in center back, Fabian Schär in center back, and then Yedlin on the left. Dubravka between the posts. Dembaba, very famous for collecting Gerrard's slip and winning Chelsea the league that year. Remy Cisse Carroll, Saint-Maximin, legend himself, Matt Ritchie, and Tim Krul, the Carlton Norwich keeper. They got Miguel Almiron and Joelinton in the reserves. And I didn't make Debuchy the captain, didn't even realize that was a thing, but I'm just going to do it right now so you guys can see. Give Alan Shearer, not copy it, give Alan Shearer that armband, first and foremost. So yeah. That's the Newcastle squad, so now we're going to look at the United one, the first seed. So that is the 8th seed, remember. But how's it compared to this squad, the number 1 seed, the United seed, which I hate how good it is because I'm a Liverpool fan, but rules are rules. I mean, they're a really good historic team. That's like a fact. So Ryan Giggs, Cristiano Ronaldo, Prime Ronaldo, and then George Best, in the front three, all 94s. They got Wayne Rooney in the cam, his flashback card actually. I was hesitating putting him in the cam position, then I realized he actually has a cam flashback card, so that was nice. They got really deadly midfield, Roy Keane and Paul Scholes. Patrice Evra, Ferdinand, and Neville, pretty strong backline. Then we got Peter Schmeichel in between the sticks. Van der Sar in the subs, so I know they're both really good and they're almost inseparable, but I just went with Schmeichel because he has the higher rating. Very, very strong bench. Van Nistelrooy, flashback Zlatan, Prime Pogba, Prime Mata, Nani, Ashley Young. Then we got De Gea, Daley Blind, and under her right. So, you've seen the squad, so I'm going to do my predictions now. I should think United should get away with that. I'd love to see them lose. That would be awesome. So, I'm going to give United home field advantage since they're the higher seed. That's how we're going to do it for the first round. But in the second round, it's going to be different. I'll tell you how it's going to be different when we actually get there. We're just going to go right in. And this is going to be a little different from when I usually do simulations. I'm not just showing the highlights. I'll show the highlights on this video. But I'll leave a link in bio if you want to watch the full match. So if you want to watch the full match, instead of the highlights, go to that link now. All games in the tournament will be played on legendary difficulty. So here we are in the drizzly northwest at Old Trafford today. So all-time clash, and honestly, I'm really hoping if Newcastle win, like I'm a Newcastle fan for the next 12 minutes. Like this, you will understand how happy I'll be if Newcastle win, because that'll just be amazing. So just gonna get right into this. So, Cristiano Ronaldo, the man himself, potentially the best player of all time, who lives up to Rooney, and United look to get the game started. So, kind of interesting formations. We're dealing with the 4-3-3 up against 4-1-2-1. So, should be interesting. So, maybe United might have to expand a little going down the back, but when you compare, because I think Newcastle do have the weakest defense in this competition. Just imagine if all these players played together. Because one interesting thing about the tournament is you got clubs like Newcastle, and because they're definitely not a bad squad. I mean, 5-star team, definitely an improvement on today. Because the thing is, Newcastle throughout the years, they'll have a few good players every year. When those few good players every year all come together in one team, it's amazing. Newcastle, the underdogs, looking to attack, playing it up to Debuchy, Shearer, De Jong, and Newcastle open it up. Luke De Jong for Newcastle. Luke de Jong, the Dutch man, opening up for Newcastle at Old Trafford. Do we have an upset on the cards? I really hope we do. Look at that, laying it off. Blasted right past Schmeichel, top left corner. Beautiful goal, struck with the left peg, back of the onion bag. Luke de Jong. His brother Siem de Jong also played for Newcastle, but is not in the squad. And there it is. There he is, the man himself. 8th minute. Potentially my new favorite player. So, here we are. Just shy of the 10-minute mark, and United trailing at home. Patrice Ever on the left-hand side. Ryan Giggs laying it back to him. Newcastle blocking him out, and Andrews Townsend will be the one to collect the ball. It looks like Newcastle might be doing the tactic if you guys watched the first leg of the Liverpool-Atletico game that Atletico did on Liverpool. Score early and defend. But right as I say that, Ronaldo scores into Dubravka, pushing it out right over the line. No one came in to smack it in. I mean, I'm not like really blaming them, it was tough, but look at that. From Ronaldo, Dubravka sticking a palm out, getting it. What a stop. George Best almost alone, but Newcastle are starting to get back. George Best all alone, laying it off to Ronaldo. Ronaldo actually passing for once. Looks like Rooney's open. Rooney. Oh! Rooney passed it away. He looks like he had space. Giggsy on the left. Oh, Sissoko blocking it. Colakini, it looks like, playing it back to Dubravka. Or maybe not playing it back, but anyway, it's clear from Newcastle as we have 15 minutes left in the half. Wayne Rooney has options. We'll choose Roy Keane as one. Gary Neville. Gary Neville again. Blocked up by Shelby. Forced to lay it off to Best. Best kind of getting by his man. Best. Ooh, he has options to Neville. Neville looking to send it across, which will find no one. Oh, Ronaldo scores in! Scholes! Paul Scholes at Old Trafford. Right as I said, it found no one. You can see Neville sends him across. Looks like Ronaldo plays it back. Plays a no-looker back to Scholes. Scholes bangs it into the right-hand side, off the volley. Wow, when you look at it, it is a good goal, well taken. Some questions about the defending, but overall I think it is a pretty good goal. So, there you are, folks. 37 minutes played, and it's equal. So there we are, 1-1. It's all square at Old Trafford. I was not expecting to say that. In judging out how Newcastle were playing in the end of that first half, it's anyone's game at this point, I think. Alan Shearer to be the man to get the ball rolling, all-time Premier League goal scorer. United will make their first substitution, Cristiano Ronaldo the man to come off, to make way for Ruud van Nistelrooy, I believe 93 rated. So, not like a weaker player at all, by any means, so let's see how... But I just said that Rooney and Ronaldo have been playing really well together, as Ferdinand clears it for a Newcastle goal kick. But how will Rooney react to playing with Van Nistelrooy now? So that's something to watch out for throughout the course of this match. Scholes plays another long ball. Oh, and it is in. Ruud van Nistelrooy off the bench, and he scores for United. He run over. What's he doing? Is he hugging the manager? Who's not even in the game, because, yeah. So United will break the deadlock, will get the go-ahead. Looks like Best played it in, and Nistelrooy just finished. And the net will be filled with this. Not great defending. Oh, Colakini had such a great game, but, I mean, honestly, when a player like Van Nistelrooy is doing that, there's only so much you could do. So he came on for Ronaldo, and then he got the go-ahead at Old Trafford. So Newcastle put up a really good fight. So, Nani, Scholes for... Oh, that would have been the game. That would have been the game in the 85th minute, but Dubravka pushing it out. He's not done yet. Giggs, sending it in. Vidic. Oh! It might go down as an own goal, but Dubravka is off his line. Van Nistelrooy will get a second one coming off the bench, and to bounce it, hit it into an empty net. I'm kind of lost for words. I don't even know what just happened. So yeah, it was headed over Dubravka, found the feet of Van Nistelrooy. Look at that. He kicked it. Yedlin tried to get in front of it, ended up putting the net. I don't think it'll go down as an own goal because it would have gone in anyway. Let's see. Okay, yeah, Van Nistelrooy will get the goal. And that looks like that will be the game, the 87th minute. It was a great fairy tale run, Newcastle, but just not enough to put themselves in the lead and get past this barrier at Old Trafford. Shearer, ooh, is yellow onside. It looks like he is. He sends it across. Fernand, his Fernand's beaten for a header to come in. Blows from the referee's whistle. United will get away. 2-goal lead, 3 goals scored in front of their own fans. Luke de Jong put in a really good effort in the first 10 minutes, but just wasn't enough. Up next is Liverpool vs Spurs, and of course that'll all be attached in the schedule. I'll leave link in description for the video explaining, and share this with your friends. Tell them about this tournament idea, because I am really excited and I want as many people on board as possible. So of course it wouldn't be a real tournament without a top scorer list. So here we have only 3 goal scorers from today. Of course, Ruben Nistelrooy on the top, then Luke de Jong, Paul Scholes, 1 apiece. There you can see their portraits along with their cards. Because we want to keep track of who gets the golden boot, but also we want to keep track of who gets the golden ball. So here we have our assists. 4 different players with assists from this match. Ronaldo with 1, which is kind of funny, him being at the top, because everyone remembers him as such a selfish player. Then George Best and Nemanja Vidic, the other 2 players to assist the other 2 United goals. Then Alan Shearer, the only assist from Newcastle today. So again, we're going to be doing these records after every video. So that will conclude the first installment of the all-time Premier League tournament. Manchester United 3, Newcastle 1. So that means that Liverpool Spurs is up on Friday. And also, for those of you that did watch the introduction video of this tournament, thanks so much. But you may notice something. I made a little graphic for the bracket, and just in that graphic, the bracket was incorrect. Actually, I messed up the seeding. I had the 1-8 seeds and the 4 and 5 seeds on the same side, which is incorrect seeding. But don't worry, it was just the graphic. The rest of it won't impact the tournament whatsoever. I'm glad I caught my mistake. So, just a correction for those who do watch that video. So, that will be the end of the video. Like, subscribe, share this with your friends, because it's going to be a really fun journey, and I want as many people along for the ride as possible.